All right, day one, week one. We're straight up gonna pull this athlete out of practice for about 3 days to let him get some rest, control the inflammation and pain, okay? But we're going to start off, and they're going to participate in rehab, okay? So we're gonna start off with an ice bag for about 10 minutes to get it started off with. And then after that, we're gonna move on to some HibaBat. Make sure the arm is nice and dry, otherwise you're gonna shock the crap out of yourself. You want their arm nice and elevated right here. This is to control inflammation and also pain, just to flow it down the arm, get it up out of there and stuff like that. And then, yeah, you have to use like gloves, you want to use powder. You have the right medium and the grounding. The athlete's supposed to hold on to this so you don't shock yourself again, like I said, because I've done that before. But then after that's done, we're going to send the athlete over to the UBE and have them warm up for about 5 minutes.
What's happening, y'all?
Hey, what's up?
I'm so sorry.
Alright, so after a proper warm-up on the UBE, we're going to do some passive stretching. We're going to go and do all of the motions of the elbow and radial and ulnar deviation, starting off with flexion, then going to elbow extension, then we're going to do supination and pronation, and then we're going to grab the distal end of the ulna and perform radial and ulnar deviation. After we do the passive stretching, I'm going to have the patient stand up, and for the next stretch, we're going to have the patient stand next to the wall and have them put their wrist into flexion and then back out and do extension and press against the wall with just light resistance.
So, week 1, day 3, we're going to have the athlete start doing active range of motion instead of passive range of motion. So just having them do flexion, extension, supination, pronation, ulnar deviation, radial deviation, flexion, extension of the wrist, just going through the active range of motion. From that, our next progression for Wednesday of week 1, we're moving up our poundage. So we were doing 10 pounds for dumbbell wrist flexion, extension, ulnar deviation, radial deviation, supination, and pronation. We're now moving up in weight. On day 3, we're also going to be progressing our towel scrunches, where before we were just doing towel scrunches, we're now doing towel scrunches, and then we're going to do a wipe on, wipe off motion. So working on that radial and ulnar deviation as well. On Thursday of that week, there's no progressions except for our putty grip. Our putty grip, we're going to progress to a thicker putty. So just having that increase on day 4 of week 1.
Okay. For core exercises for this week, we have sit-ups, flutters, and penguins. So the first exercise is sit-ups, and she's performing like this. Second exercise is flutters, and the last exercise is penguins. We're going to do 3 times 10 for each one of those. And then for day 2 of week 1, we're not going to have any progressions yet until Wednesday.
So for Friday of week 1, our increases this day, okay, struggling on that. We're going to increase our towel scrunches, so where before we were doing them non-weighted, we're going to begin doing them weighted. After that, we're going to start doing Russian twists for some core stabilization as well. So we're going to have the athlete down here on the ground, holding the weight, and just keep the feet off the ground and a rotation. For Friday, we're also going to be increasing our UBE from 60 RPMs to 70 RPMs. For Saturday of that week, we are once again going to up our dumbbells. So where before we were doing 4 pounds of flexion extension, we're now doing 6 pounds. So go ahead and yep. So getting that flexion extension, ulnar radial deviation, pronation, supination, beautiful. After that, we're going to be increasing our putty grip once again on Saturday. So increasing that, as we said before, we held our athlete out of practice for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week. She's now participating in practice. Yeah, moving on to week 2.
I wonder, should we ask Molly if those Russian twists came from Russia?
Okay. For week 2, day 1, we're eliminating the ice bag to start off with. We're going straight to heavy mat. We're doing a treatment for 12 minutes. We're also going to do the UBE, and then we are getting rid of active range of motion and instead adding PNF stretching. And for this PNF stretching today, we have a guest star, a GA from baseball and soccer, Jeremy Asman.
Oh, that's not him.
All right, so resist me. Hold. Relax. Hold again. Good. Relax.
For this PNF stretching, he's doing elbow flexion and extension.
And hold again. And relax.
So this is continuing week 2, day 1. We're going to do some wrist rolling. So athletes going to be out here just rolling it. It's going to be really light resistance, really light weight. After that, we're going to be doing just a slow motion overhead throw. So just getting the athlete back into that sport specific. Just going to be slow motion, just working really on mechanics of the throw. Following that, continuing core for this week, we're going to add a plank. So just straight arm plank, having the athlete hold the plank.
Tuesday, our only progression is increasing the weight on the dumbbell flexion and extension from 6 to 8 pounds. Moving on to Wednesday, we're adding in easy curl exercise, palms up and palms down, 3 sets of 10. And another progression is we're adding increased resistance to the wrist roll. And we're also, for this day, adding in a fast overhead throwing motion. Going through a normal motion with no resistance, increasing the throw from Tuesday.
Alright, so this is going to be Thursday of week 2. Our increases are going to be 10 pounds on our dumbbell curls. After that, we're going to do bicycle crunches instead of Russian twists on Thursday. For Thursday, we're also going to be changing up our routine by adding a body blade. We're going to have the athlete do this in 2 positions. So she's going to do here at 90 degrees, and she's also going to do an overhead motion as well. On Friday of week 2, our progression for Friday is going to be increasing our wrist rolling. So where before we were doing a medium weight, we're adding a heavy weight for our wrist rolling. For Friday, we're also going to be increasing our overhead motion. If you want to grab a band, we're going to be doing our fast throwing. So as we were doing before, going through the full range of motion, but now we're just doing it with a light resistance. And then Saturday of this week, we are going to be having the athlete add in some fielding. So adding in a little bit of sport specific along with our throwing. So we're going to have the athlete start fielding, just rolling them a ball and fielding it. Alrighty. And then for this week, just really focusing on instructing the athlete on how to do everything properly and still working on inflammation reduction and pain. Alright, so this is day 1 of week 3. We've already done our Hiva Mountain side, we've done our UBE on our passive stretching, so now we're going to do game situation base running. So we're going to have the athlete going small, go.
Alright, so after 5 laps of game time, game situation base running, now we're going to move on to about 20 minutes of long tossing.
said last one.
All right. After the long toss, now we're going to go into fielding. So after fielding, we're going to go into a little bit of bunting. We can also use a weighted bat to make it more challenging. So we're just going to take about 10 minutes of bunt drills. All right, so after the bunt drills, we'll go into the slow motion. Swing off of the tee. So make sure she's using the proper form, see if there's any pain or anything like that.
All right, Paige. Here's what we're gonna do. We're doing a little bit of rhythmic stabilization that we've already done on the table. What we're doing in a throwing motion. So what I want you to do is start out, and I just want you to lightly go through your throwing motion. All right? Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm saying like
So right here, right?
for people.
So
Just your regular throwing motion. So
Big contract.
come
I
through
like the contract.
with your other leg too.
come over here.
Yeah. All right. One more time.
It's like right there.
Yeah, afterwards, sleep off and on the lawn.
All right.
Okay, so following the body blade and the throwing motion, we're going to continue working on our throwing. We've been doing our full motion throwing with a medium resistance. Now we're going to move to where we're adding a ball in. We've added a sock to where the ball stays intact during the throw, taped it on at the top. So just as you've been doing fast motion throwing, just go ahead and let go of the ball as you throw.
Uno más. So we've already done, she's already done the sit-ups with flutters. Now we're going to move on to three-way planks and walkouts. Come on, this is rehab. You have to do it.
Okay.
Let's start off with the elbows.
Side to side. So side there.
Yep. There we go. Other side. All right. Now we're going to do the walkouts. This is for core stabilization, everybody. Make sure you got a good form.
Alright, so day 2 of week 3, we're not going to progress the athlete at all. We're going to remain the same as day 1. Day 3, we are going to progress her slow motion, hitting off the tee. We're going to do a full motion. So let's go ahead and complete that. Perfect. On day 3, we are also going to increase our throwing. So before what we were doing our full motion throw with the sock, we're now going to be progressing to just a full motion overhead throw for the athlete. Perfect. I didn't mean to do that at all. I'm so sorry. 3, we're going to progress her walkouts that we did.
This is Thursday, week 3, right?
Yes, Thursday of week 3. We're progressing her walkouts where previously we're doing 2 sets of 10. We're now going to be doing 2 sets of 15 for the athlete. Friday and Saturday of that week will remain the same as well. The goal of this week is really sports discipline and getting the athlete back into activity. By the end of the week, she should be doing a full overhead throw with no pain. That's week 3, folks.
All right, so day 1, week 1, we're going to start off with some ice.
Jump down for it.
Alright, so after a proper warm up on the UBE, for week 2, day 1, we are eliminating the use of the ice bag to start off.
What day was this?
Week 2, day 1.
Okay. For week 2, day 1, our only
Hold on. Yeah.
on Tuesday, our only progression is
Day 1, week 1, after we have pulled the athlete from practice, but he is still doing rehab for about 3 days. He hasn't participated in the sport in 3 days.
And keep your own here. I'm going to provide some just light perturbation. We're also going to bring her down. So keep your arm here at 90 degrees.